Hello and welcome to Moggie by Moonlight, my new YouTube channel. And tonight, April the 10th at 11:22 p.m, we find ourselves just outside of Uxbridge in a petrol garage in Denham. And we're going to go into London to Piccadilly Circus, but we're going to go on the Uxbridge Road. So we're going to go underneath the M40 at the Denham roundabout and then into Uxbridge, pick up the Uxbridge Road and go all the way into town. So that's about it. Waldorf and Statler in the back, safe and secure, ready to start moaning. Let's see if the car will start. We have a car running. We have lights. And yeah, let's put the roof light on. That's it, we're off and running. Let's see how we get on. Just noticed what my near side headlamp just came on as we exited the garage. Now this is my fourth attempt at going into London in the Moggie Miner, and on the third attempt, when I went to leave at 11:15 at night, the near side headlamp wasn't working. So I removed the headlight at 11 o'clock at night and found that the connectors were a little bit further up. So I gave them a quick clean because it was 11 o'clock at night, and I put it back together, and the headlights worked ever since. But clearly it needs doing again. It's on at the moment, which is great, but it's obviously not liking. It needs a good clean up of the connections, but that's another little job. As I say, this is my fourth attempt, and it's proving, you know, a 54-year-old miner needs a little bit of love and encouragement. So it's to be expected. Oh, road closed, that's a great start. Oh, okay, I know what to do. Well, we'll have to go on the A40 for a bit, come off at the next roundabout. It's a great start. Go on the A40 for one junction. I've got a car next to me. Wants a race. And your 59 plate Mercedes A40 at the end of every video, but I'll explain that later. Because they're voice activated. Okay, there we go. Nice double-decker red bus there. That's it. Woohoo! Lane discipline. We're coming into Uxbridge. Police ahead of us in a van, and I noticed that their offside rear light isn't working, which is unusual for a police vehicle. Normally they're so strict on all their checks before they're allowed on the road, but of course a bolt could go at any moment. But look, he's in front of us now. and his near side, offside rear light's not working. He's a very naughty boy. I think now, and we're heading for Hayes and then Southall, which is also known as Little India due to its large South Asian population, which settled after the Second World War, I believe. Interestingly, got another Mercedes that's slowed up to look at me and is sort of trailing behind us. I don't know whether they're filming. I suppose it's going to attract a bit of attention. That's the whole point of the roof light and the Muppets in the back. access to that old Bill van in front, does he? She's running well, no problems. Feels so much better with the new wheels and tyres. we're coming into Southall, which has the nickname Little India. And when I was growing up as a kid, my stepfather, who was Anglo-Indian, he would quite often nip over here from Sudbury Hill and pick up a load of Indian sweets, which I absolutely love. Globjums, the jalebis, I loved it. So I was brought up with Indian food and Indian sweets, and it's a shame actually, because as an adult I don't come and buy Indian sweets myself, which I should do because they are delicious. I haven't been through Southall for quite some time. But this road, the Uxbridge road, goes all the way into town, and it passes through a lot of these urban little towns, I guess you call them, which is why I've decided to come this way for my first ever episode. Time is now midnight. Out of Southall High Street now. Flashing lights down here. Looks like an ambulance. Oh, it's 20 miles an hour here, I've just seen. Which a lot of London is now, and you've got to be careful because, oh God, there was a fox dead on the road, been run over. Got to be careful with these 20 mile an hour zones because there's cameras everywhere in London, and with English law, if you're watching from abroad, your driving licence, which mine is clean, i.e. I have no points or convictions on it, but if you get done for speeding, so say I'm doing 25 miles an hour in a 20 zone, in this country you'd get 3 points on your licence and a small fine, I should think, and you get various amounts of points for different penalties, such as a bald tyre on your car, you could get 3 points for. Driving with no insurance, I think, is 6 to 8 points. So on and so forth. And if you get 12 points, then you're banned from driving. And not only are you banned from driving, but when you get your license back, your car insurance goes through the roof. 20 miles an hour seems terribly slow. And ironically, in Wales, the whole of Wales, all their 30 mile an hour limits were changed to 20 miles an hour. It seems crazy. Got an ambulance there on the right. So strap yourselves in, because this is the average speed, I think, in London at the moment. That's 20 miles an hour, I'm afraid. Oh, of course, that's Ealing Hospital over on the right. That's why there's so many ambulances with their blue lights on. And there's your London bus, doing more than 20 miles an hour, clearly. The 207. Makes you laugh, doesn't it? Sadiq Khan's London. Even the bus drivers ignore the law. So we're into Hanwell now. When I was younger, there's a park over the back here I used to take my eldest son to. And there was always a Rolls Royce dealership up here on the right, a second-hand car dealership. He specialised in Rolls Royces. And I believe he is still here somewhere, but there it is, Rolls Royce and Bentley specialist. What lane? This lane, straight on. Yep, we're still rocking and rolling. Getting some very strange looks. I'll put the light on in a minute, I think, maybe, in the back. Or shall I wait till we get into Central London? Yeah, I'll wait till we get in where there's probably more people around. into Ealing. I used to go nightclubbing here as a young teenager. I remember when my first son was born, Samuel. He was born at Hammersmith Hospital on Duquesne Road next to the Scrubs prison of all places. And I came here to an Adams shop, which was a great place to go to get your baby clothes. And I remember getting loads of clothes in a basket for him, and I was only 18 myself. And I got in the queue, and all of a sudden I had this sort of panic attack. I don't know why, or I think everything hit me, the realisation that I was now a father, and I just had to leave everything and get outside the shop. But his aunt used to have a flat here just off behind the high street, so we quite often visited Ealing. And at the time when he was born, I lived in Acton Vale, and we're going to go past the flat that I lived in when I was 18 or 19 on this road. Now we're going to Piccadilly Circus, and it's only 9 miles from here. However, at 20 miles an hour, it seems like an age away. Liking the ice blue lights on the speedo clock. They were a little upgrade. I thought I'd go with some LED bulbs, and I think they look quite nice and complement the car being blue, and it's probably nice on the eyes for the camera. So I'm guessing all these little mopeds are delivery drivers for your fast food. Was back there actually on the right that I used to go to. I've forgotten what it was called. But yeah, this is Ealing High Street. Ealing Broadway Shopping Centre. I must admit, I've got the British flag on the bonnet, and I am very patriotic. I'm proud to be English, but driving along with the British flag, especially back then in Southall, I don't know, I can sense that not everyone likes it. That's how I'm sensing it. But tough. We're in London, and London is a British city. It's the capital city, and I will fly my flag. In fact, on that note, I've got a bonnet masker. That's from when we last had a king, before King Charles. So it's quite old. And it says it's a leaping lion. This is Ealing Common, by the way, on the right. It's a leaping lion. A leaping lion with God Save the King round the base, and the leaping lion is holding a flag pole, and you could put a tiny little England flag in it, or whatever flag you want, but it'll be England. And I will mount that on the bonnet, so we're displaying the England flag and the British flag, just for extra effect. Off the lights, he must have been otherwise too busy. 20 miles an hour, and we're entering the ULEZ zone. So for those of you watching that don't know what the ULEZ zone is, it's the ultra low emissions zone, which basically means you need to be ULEZ compliant to drive your vehicle in London. Otherwise, if you're not ULEZ compliant, you have to pay a £12.50 charge per day. Which seems a bit silly to me, because if you're not compliant, you can still come in. However, I'm exempt from the charge because my vehicle, being 54 years old, is over 40 years old, and in their wisdom they allow that vehicle to drive in the ULEZ zone, which is great. So everyone should have a Morris Minor. So we're coming into Acton. We're between Ealing and Acton, still on the Uxbridge Road, and we're 7.4 miles away. 7.4 miles away from Piccadilly Circus, which of course is our destination for tonight. Actually, I don't mind driving at 20 miles an hour. It's quite nice in this, to be fair. Right, has the road layout changed round here? I think it well has done. Back down there is Acton train station. Oh, that's pretty. Tree. On now, so people can see Waldorf and Statler in the back, although Statler has moved. Turn it off again. go. So I'm interjecting at the end of this video. You're probably wondering where the outside 360 footage is and why is all the footage inside the car, from inside the car. Well, the problem was that although I had a successful drive from Uxbridge to Piccadilly Circus, which took, all told, getting home around about 2.5 hours, something like that, I believed that it was all being filmed, and unfortunately it wasn't. So this is all new to me, as you all probably know, and my cameras kept coming up with a clue, but they are new to me. So the clue is this: when I turn the cameras on, both of the cameras, they come up with this warning. Using a low speed card may interrupt recording. Now, me being me, just thought that was a generic thing that came up on the cameras when you turned it on, in the hope that they got you to buy a more expensive SD card. I brought 2 SD cards, not knowing that there was any real difference. They were 1 terabyte each. I thought that was the main thing I had to worry about. I used one in the 360 X4 camera and one in the Ace Pro 2 camera inside the car. And although the Ace Pro 2 camera inside the car filmed and gave me, first of all, I think it was a 37-minute video, then it cut out, then I realised and turned it back on, then it gave me a 3-minute video, then it just kept cutting out. That's the footage you've just watched. The 360 camera, which I constantly looked through my window whilst driving to make sure it was flashing red, that indicated to me it was recording. It did record, apparently, for the whole journey, but when I look at the file, there's nothing there. So it's all to do with using the wrong SD card. So lesson learned. So I've put the footage out that has been recorded. I've added this at the end. I'm really, really sorry that this is the result. But as I say, lesson learned. New SD cards have been ordered. I will repeat the journey again on the Uxbridge Road, because it's quite a good road to go into London on. So I shall do that journey this week and try and get the footage out as soon as I can. So apologies again, but that's what happened. Until the next time, enjoy the song and be lucky. See you soon. Ta-da.
I just love this little car. My first car was a beauty, a certified true cutie. But that rusted bucket of rattling bolts didn't take me far. While others wanted Chevys or Chryslers with big Hemis, I drove a Morris Minor, my British motor car. I'd rather found a Triumph or a sleek green Jaguar. An MG or a Lotus would be a better car by far. The British build great castles and bridges that fall down. They're known for bands that write huge hits and tour from town to town. But their cars leak oil like crazy and the brakes don't work that well. The floors rust through, the doors askew, but those cars are cute as well. I hitchhiked to California, cause my car had long since died. I met a girl who stole my intelligent and beautiful, everything that I dreamed of. But I couldn't pop the question even though this sure was love. You know, you only have one very first car unless you buy two at a time. But cars aren't usually bought in pairs unless it breaks down just like mine. If your car's a Morris Minor, two's better than one. When I found that girl drove a Morris car, I knew my bachelor days were done. I'd rather found a Triumph or a sleek green Jaguar. An MG or a Lotus would be a better car by far. The British build great castles and bridges that fall down. They're known for bands, write huge hits, and tour from town to town. But their cars recoil like crazy, and the brakes don't work that well. The floors rust through, the doors askew, but those cars are cute as well. I'd rather found a Triumph or a sleek green Jaguar. An MG or a Lotus would be a better car by far. But if I hadn't bought that Morris, I might have married a different girl. And I wouldn't trade our 40 years for all the Jaguar